Hello, everyone, and a very, very happy Monday to you. And welcome to your Monday Night Lighting Critique. I hope you all had a safe and happy weekend. We have a handful of shots to go through here, talk about. We also have Sylvain has a resume update we want to take a look at, as well as an animated shot from Tyler. So I want to switch things up. Let's start a little different today. Let's do the resume. So overall, normally I tell people to just kind of keep it simple and straightforward and clean with the resume. But to be honest, this is a very nice, well put together resume. Like when I first opened it, like if I were to receive it as a PDF or a printout, I think the layout's really good. I think it's clever. This sidebar, I wonder if we can't just nudge it over a little bit more. It depends on how you have this template, but it's nice that it's there. It's just it might be dominating a bit too much. But overall, I like the design of it. I think I like this setup. The one thing that I would say is always to maintain some consistency across these skills. So you say building lighting rigs, render settings optimization, setting up AOVs, light groups, LPEs, render layers. There's a term for it. It's like Goering. It's some term about like creating action item words. And basically it's start each sentence with an ing word. Building light rigs is great. Instead of render setting optimizations, optimizing renderers, setting AOVs and render layers. That would be a really strong one too. So it's just like instead of beauty pass reconstructing beauty passes. You know what I'm saying? So it sounds a little funky, but it's one of the things that I learned early in my days of presentation and public speaking is to speak with active tone. Make it active, right? So render settings optimization is less active than optimizing renderers. And then, so just like start each sentence with an ing. So instead of ability to use aces, utilizing aces for optimal imagery or something like that. I don't know. Don't use that as specifically, but you can do something along those lines. In terms of the project and experience, this ... Personally, I'm totally fine with it, but I think it's just a little confusing. So it'd almost be like October 2019 to present or to current or just I would do that instead of the 3 dots there. This line, it feels like it might just be. It feels like there's some more dead space over there that you can kind of fill in here. Took part in monthly challenges to improve my skills, supervise. So this one, the sentence kind of stops. I took part in monthly lighting challenges to improve my skills, supervised by 2 senior lighting TDs from Blue Sky Studios. Again, make this more active. It would be because you were lighting a variety of characters and environments as, and that could be like one bullet point. And then it would be because you're lighting it and then you're presenting it and then you're working with 2 senior lighting TDs from Blue Sky Studios. Initiated, and I guess these the other ones would be past tense because then it would be initiated student. Like you don't have to say just initiated students to shotgun and workflow or initiated students to shotgun workflow and basics. You can take out this because you would kind of I would put your role here. So it'd be like you worked for this company and what was your role? Your role was technical director. Oh, skipped over this. Just make sure that you keep your languages the same. I know you probably got a couple resumes going, so I just noticed that the French month there. So just put technical director here to the side and then bullet point your tasks. Or you can say technical director and /artist and then just put what your tasks were on the project. Produce very yeah, just take out the I. Produce various communications. And you have it here, applied thorough dynamics. For your education, I don't think you have to put the high school stuff. Unless it's relevant. It might be more relevant in France. I'm not sure, but I know that when I look at resumes, I assume that you graduated high school, unless it's a particular program that you want to highlight. And then in terms of hobbies, there's some space down here, so I wouldn't say it's a necessary thing. But if you got room down there, it's kind of nice. It's a I would take out Linux, just because that's more of a professional skill than a hobby, like swimming, gastronomy, computer science, all good stuff. Okay, but I think that it's well laid out, and I think you got a good progress here. So while we're in this window, we'll go ahead and hop over to Tyler's shop before looking at some of the stills. Oop. Turn down the volume here. Okay, so I did some paint overs on this, but the biggest thing that I was seeing was there's two main things to work on. Number one was getting the character to pop off the background a little more, and number two was just kind of balancing the saturation points. I really love this pattern on the shirt. It's great, but it's very saturated versus this cowl neck versus the scarf. That's very desaturated. Skirt saturated, flowers desaturated. This tree's very saturated, the grass is very desaturated. So just finding some balance points in there. And then in terms of getting the character to read, and my paint over, I did a warmer character over a cooler background is really great. And then working in some greater depth of field there to really kind of blur this out so we can really kind of focus in on the character. Same deal here, boots are very saturated, the door is very saturated, house is very desaturated. Getting some bounce here. Watch out for this line that's kind of cutting across. When you see it in motion, there's you can see the plants underneath it, but so you just might want to watch out for that. Although that might be a reflection. It's kind of strange because there's a hard line going across there. And then, yeah, so the character looks a little bit dusty here, her hair doesn't feel like that hero color. So just getting her pulled out of that haze. And yeah, the trees are very saturated, and we're missing a lot of bounce light in here. Because if this is going to get filled up to that level, you'd expect more bounce light in here. And then just really kind of getting some more shaping on the front of this house, helping drive this path forward would be really nice. Like I said, saturation on the flower would be good. But the structure, you're starting to build the structure there, and I think that's really nice. There are some, watch out, there's, some weird dark haloing on her skirt there. Not quite sure what that is. But, and then it looks like, looking down here in the bottom right-hand corner, there's some pulsing. Boo, 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 boo. It's just, something's kind of flashing or noisy down there. Same thing up here. But yeah, I think those are the main points to hit on, because we really want to drive home the idea of reading the character throughout the shot, but also making the elements in the shot feel like they're cohesive and they all live in one world a little bit. So yeah, that's what I got for that one. Let's hop over into the stills and we will go through this. All right, so let's start with Choo. So I really like this. I think this is working really well. This plant's looking a lot better. The warmth is entering the space a little bit more. Yeah, it's all looking really good. I think that for a last pass would be just to try and get some more specular highlights into the environment a little more, some more reflections on these bars, maybe a little bit more back here, maybe some more specularity on the plants here. So this is what I like to call just adding a detail pass. So the way that I would do it is I would do a render layer with everything with a material layer override that's super reflective, super specky. And then since this is a still, I would just kind of artistically paint those into the set, different places. You can get a small amount of specularity onto this. And then make it kind of a cooler color, it's reflecting the sky. Same thing with these bars and the plants. Just make everything a metal material with a reflective surface, so you can just kind of paint in some specular highlights. Would you do that for a animated shot? maybe not, but this isn't really an animated shot. We can get away with it. Although that being said, I've definitely animated many a render pass, a specular render pass, and then used crypto mats to kind of isolate them to certain objects. But yeah, this one's looking really good. I love the color palette. Again, I don't reiterate this every time. Love the extra shaping you're getting on this fruit bowl down here. I think it's all looking really nice. I would just take down the saturation on that little strip of warmth right there too. But other than that, all good stuff. Hisham, for your daytime one, yeah, it's great to come back to this stuff. Great to get a fresh set of eyes on it. Because looking back on it now, I think this bounce light is a little bit strong. I think we can probably pull that one down a little bit. I like the framing a lot better. Oh, and then the other thing too would just be to soften the edges in the in this. What am I'm blanking on it. The blinds, the window covers there. Just because when it's that bright outside, it'll kind of the image will eat away and like you wouldn't see this sharp edge on the side. There would be a little bit more bloom right there. So just adding a little edge blur to those would be really good. Other than that, I think it's looking pretty good. Maybe desaturate these stones a little bit. They're looking a little punchy. And I'm trying to figure out why that is. Let's just do a quick mock-up of this. So if we just pull back the saturation, I think somewhere in here would feel a little bit, warm it up a little bit too. Just like somewhere in there would feel a little bit more set in. It's also they're also a little orange. Like peeling some of that back would be helpful too. But yeah, all in all, this is looking really, really good. Actually, in fact, let me just try this real quick. So I'm just pulling back a little bit of the orange overall, seeing if you like that. I think maybe we were pushing the warmth a little bit too much. Just pull back on that slightly. I think that'll look nice. Yeah, something more in that region there. Yeah, I think that'll look good. So all in all, good stuff. Just tone down this bounce light a little bit and then rebalance the, recolor balance it, and then just try and get a little bit more edge blur on those edges. For your nighttime one, it's looking really good. You can probably desaturate the rocks here too, now that I'm looking at them. Now that I'm on that kind of train. Yeah, I think that'll look better too. It just helps set them back into space a little bit more. Love this amount of specular like little hit on the side of this. I think that's really cool. Tone down these hot spots on those cans. Just like rough up those cans a little bit more. And then I'm wondering if we couldn't go a touch brighter overall. I think we have room to go a little bit brighter overall too. So somewhere up in there. But yeah, I think this is looking great. I really like these shots. I think you're doing well. So just hit those last couple notes and I think you're good to go. All right, Matt, we've got, let's take a look at your reference. So just like iconic beauty lighting, a good rim light back here, hero lighting coming in. Not a lot of hard shadows, lots of softness. He's pretty filled in. Just a little bit of darkness on that side of his face between the because we've got a key light here, we've got the fill light coming in here, which is almost as bright as the key, just a little bit softer. A rim light back here, and then just this little section in there where it gets kind of super dark. Let's take a look at just the black and white one. So I think we're missing that area in here of the darkness would be a big one, and then I think just kind of darkness overall would be a little bit more helpful. Because you see like the darkness of his hair. Oh, sorry. The darkness of his hair really stands out. And it'd be nice, again, and if you look at the specular highlight, it's kind of just tight in there. and a little bit broader on the sides, but in the core you just see like a little like strip of it. Where here you've got this big specular highlight. So I would try and tighten up that value a little bit and make them a little bit more, yeah, just a tighter specular highlight on the hair there would really be something like that in terms of tightness, maybe a little tighter than that, but I think that would be good. You're doing a really nice job. You're recognizing that it's such a shallow depth of field that his shoulders are actually out of focus because we're so focused on the face. And it looks like you're kind of getting that there too, which is a really nice touch. You can go softer, like a larger radius with your light to eliminate some of these more hard shadows, like in there. That guy. And I think that would work out really well. There's some eye work to be done. Like there's this bright reflection over here, but I'm not too concerned about that yet. We'll get there. And then also just his head shape. Like I expect his head to end like here. He's got this big like bulbous thing out the back. Well, Mr. Bean. But yeah, I think that's working really well. And then another big one too is like just paying attention to specular highlights on the face. Again, like look at the specular highlight here, look at it over here in the fill area. Again, you're even getting some like a little speck here, some shaping on it under the chin. And it would be great to kind of get that same kind of specular highlight type of situation going on down here. Just because he feels a little bit matte, a little bit clay. And then in terms of your color version, it's looking good. Same deal. Just want to get some more darker values in there, and then the saturation point on the skin. I guess it's because I just adjusted that. Is now a little bit too high. Just pulling that back into like this region here would be very helpful. And yeah, doing some eyeding work. Maybe it's just a matter of not hitting the head so broadly with this light and really just kind of having it pick up the edge. And then if you can get like a little bit of backscatter through the ears, that would be really helpful too, because like the way that there's a little bit there. But overall, yeah, looking great, making progress. It's just a matter of getting that softness in there, and as well as some, because he looks a little bit glossy, right? Like there's like a glossy sheen to his skin. So I would get that. And then let's see, Tyler. This was just a reminder to make sure I didn't forget about your animation. And for Scott, yeah. So we've got a Bean De Niro Bean. I think is what I said in my head. I was like, De Niro Bean. So let's look at this. So it's really nice to kind of lay things out this way because it really allows us to create a good A to B comparison. So your light position is about right because we've got this light here matches up with what we're seeing over here. Key light just hitting his nose. It's like pretty much flat to the side of his face. And we can kind of see that same thing here. And the bigger things that I would do is get the collar on the shirt to match a little bit because that pop matters. It's much more like a cleaner, unless you're trying to contrast them, and he's like a little bit not as refined as De Niro's character is here. But yeah, but the biggest two things I would want you to work on are, number one, the color of the skin, because it's feeling not quite. Let's do this. So more like in this region here. So it's close, but not quite as much yellow and a little bit more red. Let's go in there. And then the bigger thing that I would really work on, and I talk about this a lot with this character because I think it's a bit of a struggle with his native shaders is just getting some tighter specular highlights on him. Like, notice this specular highlight on his head and this one up over here. You've got value, you've got the brightness of that, but it just again feels like a clay sculpture as opposed to skin that's going to have a little bit of glossiness. Some oil, like our skin is oily, we sweat. There's a lot to shimmer on our skin, and then just a slight, if you can, like darkening this side a little bit more. And this light is feeling a little bit intense. I would tone that down just a little bit. But yeah, I think those would be the main things to focus on there. Okay. Well, that's it. That's your Monday Night Lighting Critique, everyone. I hope you guys found that useful. If you have questions, let me know. Again, a couple quick reminders. We've got Let's Light tonight, 9 p.m. live Eastern Standard Time. I'll be on Zoom and on the general Facebook group. This will be the last time that I do this prior to my wife giving birth. And then the other thing was just, lots of people were responding to that nuke. We're just working with the Foundry right now to see if we can get a discount price on nuke software for our students. So if you're interested, let me know, because the more people we get, the greater discount we can negotiate. So just keep me posted on that, and I look forward to talking to all of you very soon. All right, guys. Happy lighting.